Alright, Lions, so today we did get news regarding the upcoming SENKAIMON update that seems to potentially drop later this month, by the way, on the 23rd of April. And it's kind of funny timing too, because I actually initially made a video that I was going to upload today regarding the upcoming SENKAIMON update and why you should currently right now go ahead and clear all of the Gate to Oblivion SENKAIMON Tower, because it seems like it might be the last time to do it. At least for the time being. I'll get into what I mean by that when we actually go through this update. But for those that aren't aware, SENKAIMON is seeing quite the big update, going from a monthly event that is always here for 20 days of the month to now becoming permanent quests. And I think the idea of this change is to essentially make it so it's less tedious. And hopefully, because that's the big thing right now we don't know about, we get the same, if not better, rewards. But with that said, let's scroll down and have a look at what this update is going to contain, because we do get a lot of information regarding some of the things that are going to be affected with this update. So the first big change is that the currently available SENKAIMON quest will be changed to repeat events held on a regular schedule following this update. And that includes Forging, Ordeals, Warrior's Path, Path to Valor, Diligence, Discipline, Training, Perseverance, and also Gate to Oblivion. So these are all the currently existing towers right now, and I'm at the very least glad they are somewhat going to return. They aren't going to return monthly like they do currently right now, but they aren't being completely removed from the game. However, we don't know when they are going to return, as Caleb do say here, it will be on a regular schedule, but Gate to Oblivion is included here. So, you know, if you do miss out on being able to clear all 150 stages and you can't do it this month, there is always a chance in the future you could do it again when it is next available. But if you do have a good account, like using my old account as an example, I've yet to clear the last 50 stages, but I can do it, I just haven't put the time into it. So I definitely will be doing that before it does leave. But it's not like you're missing out fully on a lot of permanent rewards, because it will eventually return. But that has yet to be seen. But honestly, I think one of the best parts, at least for me, on the fact that these can return and they aren't being completely removed from the game, is that currently right now on SENKAIMON, we do have times listed for all the past towers. And there was a brief time last year where I went back to try and speedrun all of them and get as fast as I possibly can get. Challenges like that just made SENKAIMON fun for me, so it's nice to know that when it does come back, I can go ahead and, you know, repeat the quests, try and get a faster time, but more so, hopefully, these actually stay on our profile. I'm probably one of the few players that actually care about that, but I did put a lot of effort into getting fast clear time, so I'm kind of hoping these don't get removed. But I am glad they do mention the old SENKAIMON quest, because the image that we did get earlier this month, you know, there was no sign of any tab regarding these particular SENKAIMON towers. So I thought they were just going to be completely removed from the game, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Maybe the plan is to release them during big celebrations where we can get extra orbs in a given month. But again, that's yet to be seen. And if we do scroll down, we get a bit more information regarding what's happening to our current existing SENKAIMON medals, because there are going to be a new type of coin that we can get. But with this change, the currently existing SENKAIMON medals that you can acquire up until this point will be renamed to Repeat SENKAIMON medals. And the currently existing exchange shop will also change to now Repeat SENKAIMON Medal Exchange. So this is something that I'm glad they mentioned in advance, because we actually known for a while now we were going to get new type of medals. Because if you go to the exchange shop right now, the medal itself does have a different appearance, a black outline with a rainbow middle part. But the current SENKAIMON medals have a blue outline with a black middle part. So if you do, like me, let's say have like 3,000 SENKAIMON medals, right? I've been saving these for anniversary, but at least now I know I don't have to go ahead and spend all of my medals right now before the, you know, new exchange shop does come in. They aren't being deleted. They're just changing the name, and this shop will still be available. So if you have any leftover coins, you can use them whenever you want to. You don't need to use them right now. For me, I'm probably going to hold on to them until the 10th anniversary. Now, while we are on the topic of the medals, let's scroll down to the bottom here. So there will be a new medal exchange shop. And of course, along with that, you can get the new SENKAIMON medal, where you can trade these medals for previously available SENKAIMON reward characters and also other items. So for those that are wondering going forward into the future, how are you going to be able to get the past SENKAIMON characters and maybe most importantly SENKAIMON Chad? That should hopefully be the way we do get it. I mean, it's a given all the past characters are going to be included there, and I believe Chad should be included because we should be able to max transcend him, right? And you would probably want to as well if you do care about maximizing your damage output, because Chad is one of the best links in the entire game, offering 25% more damage at full stamina and also 12% recharge. Will we be able to buy a Chad every single month, every 2 months is yet to be known, but if this does give us a way to get more Chads than we currently get right now, which we haven't been able to get any for like the last 6 months, that will be an improvement. Scrolling back up though, let's have a look at changes to the schedule and format. So along with this change, the format in which these quests can be attempted will also be updated. Previously, players could only attempt one set of stages from each normal, extreme, and special categories. Going forward, there'll be no such restrictions, and you can attempt any and all categories freely, which sounds pretty good. So again, for those that aren't aware of what they are referring to, right now we have a bunch of, normal towers, but you can only ever do one at any given time, any given month. Likewise with the extreme tower, you can only ever do one of these towers, you have to pick which one. And then special, Gate of Oblivion, there's only one tower anyway. So going back to this image, right, using this translation feature, I mean, it didn't look like there was a bunch of towers or sections. They're separated by affiliation. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But it didn't look like there was a lot available. However, whatever is there is what you can attempt. So adding on to that too, the new SENKAIMON quests, instead of having towers, they will now be grouped by affiliation. And the ones that will be added are Soribus, Captain and Squad Zero. So important to understand that Soribus are its own category. Captains and Squad Zero getting put together. Quincy and Stamritters are getting put together. Arankas and Espadas, of course, are getting paired together. We then have one for Hollows, Humans, and also no affiliation. And when you are doing that particular section of quests, you can only use that affiliation. And again, going back to this image, there's still more to be seen, but it doesn't seem like there are restrictions on any character you can use, besides the fact that from the looks of it, there's going to be 2 characters that have to be sealed. One of the things regarding SENKAIMON that Caleb basically have been doing since the game mode was, first added like 5-6 years ago, is that they do design stages specifically in mind for one particular character. And if you don't have that character, you're likely going to struggle. With Transcendence, it kind of, phased that out a tad bit. You could always use different characters if you worked in them enough, but it seems like the only restrictions that we are going to have is just use an affiliation character. Use a Soripa, use a Quincy Stamritter, etc. with no potential bonus rules giving you more damage. You're going to solely rely, hopefully, on your character and the builds for them. I do think it is smart, though, for Caleb to actually combine Captains and Squad Zero, considering there aren't many Squad Zero characters. Imagine Squad Zero had its own section. That would be absolutely terrible. Unless, of course, you had all the characters. Quincy and Stamritter, if this was maybe added over a year or 2 ago, would be maybe a bit of a struggle, but we do get quite a lot of Quincy's nowadays, and we'll continuously get more in the future. The only one that can be awkward is the Hollow one, because there aren't many Hollow characters in the game, especially new ones. But if I do have plans to add more Hollows in the future, they're going to be, of course, great characters to use there. And maybe Humans, to be fair, might be a bit of a struggle because there's not too many humans, but I think we'll get by, especially if you are a veteran and have a wide roster of characters, because that's, I think, the whole point of this update is to use a bunch of different characters. Literally characters of every affiliation. Now, in terms of rewards here, this is important. Each SENKAIMON quest has multiple stages, and each of these stages has missions. Meeting the requirements set by these missions will earn you mission clearance rewards. On Discord, they did say these would be updated regularly, and the missions that we do have from the image they provided earlier this month is to clear the quest only using 2 accessories, clear the quest above 70% stamina. So it's stuff like that you are going to be doing. And in all honesty, all of this sounds pretty good. It really does. But regardless of how good it does sound, the only thing majority of the player base is going to care about is what's happening to the monthly orb income. Because SENKAIMON right now does give 480 orbs every single month if you can be all 75 stages. 50 of the normal tower, 25 of the extreme tower. Anything less is going to be seen as a nerf, and obviously whenever we do get an orb nerf, that is always justifiably so met with backlash. So like I said, regardless of how good all of this does sound, it really just comes down to one big thing. What is the monthly orb income going to look like when it comes to SENKAIMON? Because we could get all these great changes, but if we're getting less orbs, then it's going to be, of course, seen as a negative change. And I would love for KO to maybe address that in advance, because then we can go into this update not really worrying about a potential orb nerf. And I know given the whole point of it, nerf has, definitely caused a lot of negativity in the community, rightfully so once more. Even myself, going into this update, I want to be optimistic, but at the same time with the recent change, if this also gets nerfed, it's not going to be a good look. But at the same time, I want to have hope on Caleb. Like I said, the last 2 changes to certain game modes were actually positive. Chronicle Quest got removed and still offered the same amount of orbs. They got moved into the daily exchange. And then Guild Quest actually gave more orbs. And we're potentially also seeing a more orb increase in Guild Quest if you are able to beat extra level 3 and also 4 in that new Guild Quest update next week. So they've been on a good streak of not nerfing any orb sources lately. And a change like this, definitely is going to be controversial, even if there is some good things in it, if we are getting less orbs. So, like I said, all of this I think looks positive. I think this all looks great. I'm excited to try it out. If the orbs stay the same, honestly, I think I'm perfectly fine with that, because I think the whole idea for this update is to make SENKAIMON less tedious, because going through 75 stages every month definitely can be a bit tiresome when they aren't adding any new towers. And adding new towers I don't think would have changed anything, so doing something like this is definitely the step in the right direction. It just really comes down to how many orbs you do get, whether it's going to be a positive or negative change. But yeah, main thing to keep in mind, this is happening during version 16.6. The date of the update is still unknown, but it's definitely coming soon since we are getting information about it right now in-game. And with that in mind too, if you haven't already gone ahead and done so, push as far as you can in the Gate to Oblivion Tower before the 23rd. SENKAIMON is leaving 2 days earlier, so likely this update will be happening on the 23rd. So make sure you finish the tower if you possibly can. Even if they will return in the future, we don't know when that is going to happen, so you might as well go ahead and clear it. But yeah, overall, glad to have gotten some information regarding the upcoming SENKAIMON update. This was stuff that I personally also wanted to know. There's still more to be seen with this update, and it will be coming a lot sooner than we expect. Again, potentially within the next 10 days, the 23rd of April. With that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Take care, and peace.